Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. It is yet again a beautiful day in the land of XRP, and we got some crazy stuff to talk about today. I know I say that often, but that is because there is a ton to talk about. Now, today I want to not only talk about XRP, but also about, the general climate of crypto right now. So my question of today is, what crypto is your favorite one? Your real number one? Let us know in the comments section down below. Starting it off, Binance Kraken in talks to support XRP's Spark token airdrop. I've been seeing a lot of questions still from people asking me what I'm going to do with Spark. I just briefly want to remind you that you have till December 12th to sort this all out, and thus there is no hurry whatsoever. Don't worry, I'll explain everything in due time if the necessity were to appear. So don't worry if you haven't done it already, it will be fine. All right, it'll be completely fine. Then somebody has posted a very interesting article that talks about the Ripple CEO. I disagree with Armstrong. It has, written it poorly, Armstrong, but all right. Ripple CEO on Coinbase, a political policy. This refers to the kind of battle that's going on right now between Ripple and Coinbase. And yes, I call it that way because it's a pretty hefty argument as of this point. So what Brad Garlinghouse has stated is he asserted that technology companies have the obligation to assist with solving social issues. To quote, "We think about our mission as enabling an internet of value, but we seek positive outcomes for society. I think tech companies have an opportunity, but actually an obligation to lean into being part of the solution." Now, this all comes after Coinbase told the world that they had a apolitical stance, or in other words, they didn't want to involve themselves with anything political. However, we just saw Brian Armstrong, come out with a statement himself on his own Twitter, which was rather strange. But yeah, it just kind of depends on how Coinbase is going to react to this. If they react positively and are going to be like, well, you're right, nothing will happen. If they ignore it, nothing will happen, but Ripple will have won. If they go against it, though, we'll definitely see a little bit of a feud between Coinbase and XRP, which might have consequences for XRP down the road. Then, Fed Chair, 80% of global central banks are considering digital currencies. Yes, guys, this is not a joke. It is actually stated right here. Powell's statement echoes a research report released by the BIS in January, which stated that currently 80% of central banks are engaged in developing in Cbdc, up from 70% last year. To me, this is a quite shocking number, but really not that strange if you consider all the ties that are being made right now, and everybody, as of this point, has literally put out a statement already. So to kind of think about that 80% of the global banks are considering or working on it, yeah, it's all but logical, actually, guys. 80% is just the start, because I think eventually it's going to be 99%, right? There will always be this one contrarian percent, but really soon, maybe even next year, it's going to be globally completely normal. With that, though, comes the idea again that, everybody's talking about it, everybody is seeing that as a standard, and it's really moving along quite nicely. XRP could be the bridge between all of them. We should not forget that, guys. This is one of the most bullish reasons that I'm seeing right now, or literally one of the best reasons to hold XRP at this point. It is literally one of the most obvious ways to understand the use case for XRP. What other currency could be the bridge? We can always talk about a stablecoin that could do the case, but what would it be pegged to? What stablecoin could take their place? Because there would always be this feud over which stablecoin is it going to be. Because it can't be JPM coin, it can't be Libra, because all of them will be centralized to a certain way. You need a decentralized asset to rule this, otherwise parties will reject it. As of this point, there is no way JPM coin would work with China. Just think about it. Why would they do that? The only type of currency that China CBDC could be working with is something like XRP, which is decentralized. And funny I mentioned just now, China is very much underway with their CBDC. Chinese consumers spent $8.8 million in digital yuan trial. Consumers in China have spent over 8.8 million yuan in the first week of trials held to test the feasibility of China's central bank digital currency, in one of the largest trials of its kind to be conducted in the country thus far. Equivalent to around $1.3 million in spend, citizens of Shenzhen in China were participating in the trial, which saw them turn to the as yet unreleased digital currency for payments in a variety of everyday settings. First reported in the South China Morning Post, the figure comes as the latest findings from China's slow rollout of the currency, which has been gathering pace in recent months. Over 1.9 million applicants were reported to have applied to take part in the trial, with in excess of 47,000 consumers ultimately participating in the program. Those selected to take part were awarded packets of 200 digital yuan for use as supporting outlets, with some 62,000 individual transactions conducted over the duration of the trial. The more recent round of trials in Shenzhen takes the total spent in China's digital currency to over $1 billion so far, with the central bank and state authorities keen to extensively trial the technology before any larger scale rollout. So I definitely think that is quite interesting, but the more interesting part comes a little bit lower, which again reiterates our kind of fears, but also our I guess one of our major statements, which comes from the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, who stated that the US was, rather going to go for a proper way to integrate it rather than becoming the first to launch, which is kind of an admitting defeat. China is the first CBDC that's rolled out, and China is definitely really on a good pace to get to the top. With that, China's digital currency will not compete with mobile payments app WeChat and Alipay, says program head, which is a very smart move because those are definitely going to be heading over into crypto relatively soon. If we were to compete, you would always get some arguments or some strange stuff going on. So I think this is also a very smart move from them to just quickly, again, state we're not in a competition. It's nothing like that. Currency issued through DCEP can be used in mobile wallets like WeChat Pay, says Mu Changchun, head of the Central Bank's Digital Currency Research Institute. The People's Bank of China has already found counterfeit digital yuan wallets, Mu says. Well, more on this is going to be coming out as it becomes more important. For right now, though, it is more important to consider that China is so far with the CBDC. David Schwartz and more guys over at Ripple have confirmed that CBDCs can make domestic settlement faster, more reliable, and less costly. If there is a government pushing another cryptocurrency that's even more open, more free, has less restrictions than Bitcoin, and is faster and cheaper to use, then that would threaten Bitcoin. And there was another statement here, here we go. I don't think there's going to be one world fiat anytime soon. So even with stablecoins, there will be a lot of them to make liquidity between CBDCs, other stablecoins, and new tokenized asset classes, securities, DeFi. There's room for a neutral jurisdictionless asset. Point of that one was XRP has a good place here between these CBDCs. He knows it, we know it, and ultimately, we all know XRP won't take up 100% of this volume. Why? There will always be contrarians and there will always be multiple ways to solve a problem, and thus it is unrealistic to expect that XRP will literally have everything. However, consider what we've been talking about for the last couple of days. Ripple has the highest benefit in the XRP price going up, so you bet your ass that this is going to get our price too. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just me, a random guy on the internet thinking, but I'm thinking here that this is looking pretty damn juicy for the price, all right? And that is because there's a net demand created. Why? If you have the most liquid asset or an asset or currency that can literally be bridged between every other one, a lot of people are going to want to have that thing to hold. Some people ask me, what's the best store of value, or what's the best currency, the one you could use the most? I like to always compare to the best passport you could have. Some argue that it's the German one, some argue it's a US one, some argue it's an Israeli one, some argue it's a UAE one. There's always arguments about that one. The thing is though, it's always going to be one that's, useful in multiple different scenarios, or not necessarily hard to get, but kind of special to have since it's so versatile and so useful in different scenarios. Some also compare that to silver, where it's like gold might be valuable in terms of dollars, but silver, you can really melt into a lot more things. You can really do a lot more with that because it's bendable a lot easier. With XRP, I kind of like to compare it in that sense to silver, because even though Bitcoin is a lot more expensive, it's a lot more useful to hold yourself some XRP, since eventually all the corridors that are accepting Bitcoin will also be accepting XRP, but in a different end. Eventually, it's all going to be about which currency can I utilize the easiest, the fastest, etc. And some might argue that through ODL, there's no net demand for XRP created. It's true. All right. If ODL is utilized, what they're doing is they're buying and selling XRP in a 3-second period. So no literal demand comes from that. But it's all about what happens on the side. All right. We're talking about it, which means there's demand for it because of ODL, right? Because literally, think about this one. If Bank of America and literally every other freaking bank that starts with Bank of were to use XRP to provide payments, don't you think people are going to be like, whoa, if they're all using this coin, this cryptocurrency to pay each other with as an intermediary currency, if I don't have a certain fiat that I'm loyal to, it's the best to hold that one because I can easily switch it over to any other currency around the world in just a second since I already have the most liquid asset. But again, that's just my thoughts on it. I could be completely wrong. You can't call me a lunatic because a lot of you guys do that all the time. So whatever, I just think about it that way, and that is that. Then about Cardano, I just briefly wanted to mention it once more. But I before that, I must say, guys, be careful of ledger scams right now. I don't know what articles I had open here, so I don't want to press it because maybe I had like a scam open by accident right now, so I don't want to show. But you gotta be careful with what you do with Ledger. I just went over to Twitter to also state again that you should be careful. If this could briefly load. It's not gonna load possibly, but yeah, a lot of phishing attempts are going around right now from Ledger. Of course, not the official one, but just be careful about all of this stuff. And if you have a question, just ask me over on Twitter. Ask me in the YouTube comments. Ask me anywhere, or go to the official @Ledger Twitter account. Don't mess around with this stuff, all right? It can cost you all your money, so please be careful. Please, guys, I'm warning you, all right? Take care of your money. And then to get further on with what I was just talking about here, Cardano, Project Catalyst on Google Play Store will drive mass adoption. The voting app Catalyst from Cardano was published in the Google Play Store. Through Catalyst, users can vote for initiatives to drive mass adoption and help share the roadmap. I gotta be honest with you guys, I am pretty excited about what Cardano is bringing to the world right now. May it not be that they have some crazy projects today, they're new or anything like that. It is that they're quite versatile in what they're doing, of course the more researched approach to it all, and also the fact that they're trying some experimental stuff. Catalyst here, what other projects are doing it in this way? I think it's very unique and very, very handy. They've created now a way for a lot of the people that are not that tech savvy and really don't know how the validators all work and how voting all works and all these internet things. They've taken a very easy way for everybody to just vote on some proposals through an app. And I know, guys, it's not like this is the first app to ever vote or something like that. It's just one of the first crypto projects that does it this way on such a grand scale. Yeah, I always appreciate that type of stuff, and I will always keep I guess kind of loving this guy in that sense. I also saw something here. The first project is called Free Commerce, and it is a decentralized marketplace which is based on the Cardano blockchain or completely free of charge. Simply put, an eBay that runs on the blockchain. Initially, a Shopify integration is aimed at, and 700,000 ADA are to be collected. I kind of always wonder about what that means, but at the top here you can see some other information. Each Cardano owner will automatically have voting rights depending on how many ADA are held in the wallet, At last, 3 projects were available which compete for financial means to the sum of $250,000 or the equivalent of almost 2 million ADA. The Catalyst app can now be used to distribute votes and thus evaluate the respective projects. I'm kind of wondering how it works. If I were to create a project for Cardano and I would get that sum, do they have some very strict rules on how you can spend it, or is it just like a budget that you can use to further on your project? Because what if I were to be like, okay, you know what? With this money you all gave me, I'm going to expand my office. I'm going to give myself a nice little bathtub in my freaking office. Are they going to be like, you know what? No, you can't really spend your money on that. No, yeah, no. Or is it just like, well, if it can help ADA, you go right on ahead. How does that work? I don't know, but I'm really eager to find out. And otherwise, I'll just look up a little bit more about how those budgets are created, and I'll just ask some people. But if you know, let me know. And I'll see you guys again in another crypto video. Take care, everybody.